I'm AJ Tamulitis. I'm a compliance manager focusing on CMMC.
I'm Carolyn Schmidt. I am a compliance manager focusing on HIPAA.
And I'm Chad Adams, business development specialist for managed IT and cybersecurity. So what I see from clients a lot is really kind of two things. It's governmental compliance, like federal compliance, like HIPAA and SEC compliance, that sort of thing. And then I see industry level compliance where they have to deal with ISO certifications and that sort of stuff. The way clients look at it when I'm talking to them is the compliance with their individual kind of certifications in industry. They see it very differently than they see governmental compliance and that sort of thing. Lots of clients now are at a place where they're being asked by their business partners or investors or potential customers, whoever, tell me how you're protecting my information. Tell me how you're making certain I'm secure. And that's an interesting aspect of compliance that doesn't really exist, so to speak, from a compliance perspective. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's true. Like nowadays, cybersecurity, security in general is becoming more and more popular, and businesses are worried about the data they're sending over to third-party vendors that they're using, because a simple data breach could cause them to lose millions of dollars. And along with that, they have to look at too is if it were a breach of something that was covered under federal, you're looking at potential fines and a massive reputation loss, and nobody's really going to want to have to continue to give you business if you are in non-compliance.
Yeah. Nobody wants to run afoul of HIPAA, right? You don't want the federal government to come knocking on your door. But what about the idea that your customers might ask you?
I've seen that 18 years ago, where somebody wanted to do business, or they were doing business, and they didn't have these requirements.
Yeah.
But their customers wanted them to go through that kind of audit, that kind of compliance audit, just to get an idea of where they stood cybersecurity-wise.
Do you think there'll come a day where having some sort of a defined cybersecurity program for any company will become some sort of a mandate, almost like having business insurance when you open a new business?
Yes, I think it's coming, and already the Department of Defense is doing that for its contractors. They're rolling out a program called CMMC, which is a cybersecurity model maturity certification. Mm-hmm. And it's a big deal to many of the 300,000 defense industrial-based contractors that do business with the DoD.
Sure. Do you think CMMC is going to become sort of like almost a de facto standard for the federal government or anybody that deals with the federal government?
Yeah, some flavor of it, some form of it will eventually become a standard, but at the same time, government standards don't always transfer very easily to the civilian sector.
Sure.
And whereas a government can tell its departments and agencies, you will do this, you will patch that, you can't really tell that to a state and local government because of the way how we're set up federally.
Sure.
And I think you're seeing a slow movement towards that with, GDPR came out, you got CCPA that came out. Every state right now, unfortunately, has so many different, stipulations and different things for their own state privacy laws. So there have been talks about making government, a full over federal one. And I think with the move of that and all the different privacy rules and regulations that are coming out, you will see this trend kind of go to where it is going to be more of a cybersecurity base for businesses, because they're going to have to protect their clientele's data.
Yeah. From my perspective, dealing with the DOT and then the DoD in different states for different reasons, you're essentially starting over every time from defining what your compliance looks like. And that's daunting, to say the very least.
They're trying to make IT security part of your process of doing business. And you're seeing that outside, and I'd say these past 2 years, or a year and a half, or however far we are, has really brought to light how intertwined we are with our IT systems, not only at work, but at home. Working from home, having all that security that people just took for granted or thought it was only at work, you're bringing it at home now.
Yep.
Added to the fact that you have the Internet of Things, the IoT, your refrigerator, your smart TVs, your iPads, everything you're keeping at home is now being subject to the same attacks as just your work environment used to be. So yeah, it's been an eye-opener, I think, for a lot of people.
Thinking about the security in that way becomes a pretty critical piece. And I think what I'm seeing is there's going to come a point, although we aren't there yet, there's going to come a point where the concept of IT, managed IT, et cetera, is security. There is no demarcation between them. But with the, let's call it an onslaught of security breaches and violations and things that are happening out in the world, having IT security be an afterthought is no longer an option. You have to get to a point where security is melded completely into your IT overall, period. Not very many companies are there yet, though. What do you guys see there?
I see a need for, if you're developing in-house applications, you really need to bake security into it from the beginning. Don't hard code in IP addresses or URLs or passwords, backdoors.
Right.
Developers don't or haven't taken security seriously in the past, and that's why we're dealing with patches all the time, whether it's from Microsoft or Apple.
You're seeing it in all fields. So, I mean, coming from, the medical side, dealing with HIPAA and everything, you even see it on that end is in the last year, hacking was the #1 cause of breaches. So you look at the fact of like a lot of people are starting to look at, well, why? Well, cybersecurity, though important and always in the back of our heads as an IT personnel, is not totally top priority because we can come up with different ways to mitigate as best we possibly can. But now they're starting to look at even simple device, not only like IoT, but in medical worlds, we're looking at ultrasounds that are connected to the network. Any sort of device that they're sending patient data across. Whereas those machines were kind of always looked at before as, they're just kind of on their own. They're these little, they're smart but dumb machines. They don't really do anything. They send pictures to our PACS machines. And of course, PACS systems have come under question a lot lately in regards to that. So I think cybersecurity in general is going to have to start breaking that demarcation and having it be a full piece of the program.
This was great. I learned a ton just talking to you guys. It's really cool that we've got experts like you behind the scenes that I can ask questions and rely on.
Yeah, thanks for asking questions. It's great hearing about all your clients. If you have any further questions or your clients, you could definitely direct them to our website where we have more information in our compliance and cybersecurity offerings.
Cool, thanks. I guess time to get back to work, right?
Yeah.
Off we go.